Okay, everybody. How's everybody doing today? It's Kate Richburg, and I will be up on the screen very shortly. Just bear with me here. Just one moment. I was looking for something to share with you guys real quick, so that I want to put up on the screen that I think you guys will like. At least some of you, I think, will like. So bear with me here. Just a moment. There we go. Okay. Let me make sure that I'm all set up here. It's been a busy morning here at Beadshop. So let me take down this banner, and here I am. There we go. Good morning, afternoon, or evening, everyone. As I said, it's Kate Richburg, and it is Wednesday. That means it's time for Beadshop Live. So I wanted to start out with a few hellos. Looks like there's a whole bunch of people that are jumping in to say hello and chat and everything. It looks like Janice will be here shortly. Diane has a question about kits for the Great Beads extravaganza that's coming up. Stay tuned to my social, Diane, because I'm doing a little bit of metal work about that. So I'm going to post it on my social media, Kate Richburg and Kate Richburg Joy. So you'll be able to see that. So that's coming up. Also, it'll be listed in the Great Bead extravaganza group. So thanks for asking. I also wanted to wish our Gita a very, 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 as I get very close, happiest of birthdays to you. I know you were a little under the weather for your birthday, but happy birthday from the States, from us all the way across the miles to you. So happiest of birthdays for you. I also thought that you guys might want to see this. It came up in my Facebook memories today, and I thought you guys might like it. So I know that some of you with our older broadcasts would watch Alfie come up, right? And saw him grow from a little bitty kitten to a really giant cat. Now he's like probably 18 pounds. He's a huge boy. So he doesn't come to the office much. But this came up in my memories, and I thought that you guys would like to see it. There's little Alfie at the office when he fit on a velvet pad, our boy. So there he is. So that was taken 3 years ago now. So I thought you guys might like to see it. Anyway, so I'm like a mama talking about her children, right? So there he is. There's our boy. There's our boy. He was so tiny. He was just the tiniest baby. Anyway, so I thought today would be fun to create, to show you how we work on our monthly mixes. So the monthly mix theme for this year, in case you haven't noticed, are birthstones. So we've been taking a cue from different birthstones of the month every year or every month, and we've been creating these fun mixes. Janice has been doing a lot of them. She and I have been doing a lot of them together. She did the one for July, and we're calling it Ruby Slipper, because the one that we did in May was called Emerald City. And then we've got this Vintage Pearls one that's in between, and I'll show you this one in a second. And then I've got a whole giant box right here that I'm going to open up, right? And we're going to talk about the monthly mixes and kind of how they've evolved and give you a little bit of a peek into our thought process. But every single one is right here. So, and we save them. a sample of one. So we've got an archive, which is really fun. I think they're not very organized here, but you'll see them. So let me get this going on here. And let's take a look at what we've got for monthly mixes. And I've also had some of my favorite monthly mix projects here for you to look at as well. I don't know if you guys have a favorite monthly mix that was yours, that you enjoyed. It was one of your favorites, but you can certainly drop it in the comments here. So let me, I'm just going to take these out and do this. I guess I could have prepared, but you know, why prepare, right? This was one, since we were talking about Alfie, this one was Alley Cat. This one Karen did September 2018. So we've been doing these for quite a few years now, right? And so every month we would talk, you know, we do these about 2 months in advance. Primavera, that was a favorite. This one Cara did, right? This one 2019. There's the Samson mix that Gita did. Whoops, the sticker kind of stuck to it, so let me unstick it. October 2020, right? This one was Autumn Trellis, November 2020. I think I did that one. There's a few that Allie did in here, the design team. I did this one last year, Sapphire Road, that blue one was called. I loved Sapphire Road. And so you can find the recipes to these mixes. So the thing about our monthly mixes, you guys, is we make them and we make a limited quantity of them. There isn't a endless amount, right? We just make them for the month. And then we put the recipe up. So if you super love the recipe or whatever, you can go back and recreate it. Sea Treasures, I think I did this one. June 2018, this guy, whoops, Sea Treasures here. So let me see. So this was April 2018. I don't know if someone can go to the monthly mix page and tell me what our first one is, but this one we really tubed. We tubed it so it looked like a rainbow, which I loved. So I'm just gonna lay some of these out here. So April, June. This was, I think Karen did that May one. They all come kind of rolling back, right? 2018, that was Karen's. I have a project that I did. This might be one of my favorites, the Sweet Pea. I love it so much. So that Strawberry Lemonade was our first one. Okay, so Strawberry Lemonade was this one, right? Oh no, that's Cinnamon Spice. They all start to kind of look the same after a while. Here we go. Strawberry Lemonade, July 2017. That's the first one there. Okay. And this was a fun one. And I'm going to pour some of these out, but that was, let's see, July. Here's 2017. They're down at the bottom of the box. Cinnamon Spice, that was a good one. Here was Harvest Time, September. I always like to do the September one because that's my birthday month. So that one was fun. I think, yeah, here's another Harvest Time. That was good times. Cornucopia, 2018. I'm going to put this one there in 2018. That was 2020. Let me put that over there. This was 2020. Let me put that over there. This was 2018. September. That one, Karen did that one. Pear Festival. This is like, I'm totally entranced about what's in the box. My mom will understand by my the tone of my voice where I get all, oh, look at this one. This one was a fun one, Pear Festival. Everyone loved Pear Festival. So that was 2019. That was 2019. Golden Gate Fog. That Cara did that one. Really, really fun. Autumn Trellis. We've got one of those already. Here, this one was a big state fair. This was a great one. We loved. That one was in 2020. Sea Star, that was the one I did in August. I did a loomed bracelet for Sea Star, which I liked a lot. That'll go there in 2017 or 2019. Here we go, Summer Sky 2017. So I just want to get a few more of these out, and then we're going to dive into these. Enchanted Meadow, that was a good one. They're all good. Why am I telling you that they're all good? This one Drea did. I loved Summer Rush, right? Summer Rush. It was a good one. Oh, my mom was saying Stargazing was her favorite. You know what? Brandon did that one. I think Brand did Stargazing. Let me see. Here it is. Oh, no. Brandon did the Twilight Hour because her birthday is in October. So that one was that. Let me see. This was Roaring 20s. That went in the 2020 pile. Here is Mountain Glow. Mountain Glow was a big fan favorite. Aquamarine Dreams, that was this year. I'll put that over there. I think I've got all of this year too. I think I've got everybody, so we'll see. Splish Splash, this one was cute too. That was April of last year. And then this was Sakura Skies, though I don't know if that has a label. Here it is. There we go. That makes it look better. And I promise there's a method to all my madness, so you're just going to have to sit through as I kind of sort these a little bit. But, oh well, what are you going to do? I saw this one. This was also a big fan favorite, this family reunion that Janice did, July 2018. That was a big one. So let's see, 2017, August, September. Let's see, October was that one, Cinnamon Spice. November and December. Let me see. December. I could have sworn I had every single one. This one, my mom, you were saying Holiday Lights. This might have been that December one. I'm going to have to look. And also, I think we had Jack Frost somewhere in there. That one doesn't have a label, but I think that one's it. I'm holding my, oh, this one, Karen's Maya. That we just have a little bit of. That was a big fan favorite too. There we go. Okay, so let's take a look at some of these guys and what we've got going on here. This one might have been one of those December ones. I'm trying to remember there. So I've got almost everything. There's Harvest Time. There we go. Alrighty, and I think this was the December one of that year. And I think the December one of that year, I'm not sure what that was called, but someone can look it up and tell me. This one was Living Coral. That was also a big, we brought that one back because it was a big favorite as well. So, okay. So let's take a look. I could look at these all day long. Oh, Descendants. Right, that was the 2019 one. That one goes there. Here we go. Holiday Lights. There it was. There it was. And we will recreate. It's about time that we have a poll. Every time that we recreate or bring back a mix, what Drea does is she makes a poll in the group and everyone votes on their favorite. And so we'll do that again. We'll bring that back because it's kind of fun to have a fan favorite vote. And then we decide what we like, and then or what everyone likes, and then we bring it back. So let's take a look at some of these first ones. Let me get all this business out of the way. There's so many. My desk is now covered with monthly mixes, which is really cool, I think. I love it. So let me move these 2019s over here. Let's look at 2017 and 2018, shall we? And let's see what we've got. I think that this one, I know we did one called Jack Frost. That might have been it here. And it looks like I'm missing a few. April, May, June. There's July. It looks like I'm missing August. There's March right there. There's November, October. There we go. So when we're creating, look at this one. Look at that holiday lights. I love that. I did that one. So if I do say so myself, it was good times. There we go. Strawberry lemonade. It all started with strawberry lemonade, which is kind of funny to think about. So so how do we start, right? Oh, New Love. I just saw that, Millie. New Love said, you said that one came up. That one was also a Karen. It might have been this one. I have here. This one right here is New Love. Oh no, that's Boudoir. Well, you can't keep a hold of all of them, right? But as we're starting to create our mixes, and I want to dump out this very first one, this strawberry lemonade. Okay, so I'm going to move this over, and I'm going to dump this one out. So when we got this idea, you know, we've always loved mixes and mixing beads and creating, you know, kind of stringing from a little pile of beads like this, right? So when you look at creating, and when we started looking at creating a monthly mix, we thought, and most of these mixes just have seed beads in them, size 11s, sometimes size 8, and sometimes size 6s, okay? And sometimes we get on a run where we only do one size and shape, okay? So, so with this one, Strawberry Lemonade, I remember we didn't start with the name. And a lot of times what we would do in later times is we would start with a photo. We'd get a photo or an inspiration photo or something and work from there. This one, I remember we just started working and mixing beads. A lot of times it has to do with brand new beads that we've ordered, right? So these, we may have gotten a couple of new colors. It might have been, this one might have been new. This one might have been new, this size 6. And so I know a lot of you, when you get your monthly mix, like to sort them. So I'm not going to sort this whole thing, but I'm going to pull out the 6s in these. That color there. And again, the recipes for all of these are on the website, so you can create your own mix. And usually when we mix the mixes, they're usually equal amounts. And I'm saying usually because sometimes they're not. It depends. Sometimes if there's a really fancy and super expensive bead in them, maybe we put about half the amount of those in, right? It just depends on, you know, because we want to kind of keep them kind of equal in cost. So again, some of the seed beads that may have gold or may have kind of a rare glass color, those might be a little more expensive. So we use fewer of those in the mix. But you can see, and then this last bead that's in here is a size 11. So we don't always use 11s because sometimes, whoops, come over there, because sometimes 11s will pose a little bit of a challenge, right? So here is the mix, the beads in the sum of their parts right here. Okay, so we've got 3 6s, 3 8s, and 2 and 1 size 11 there. And so as we mix this, I remember I would take the tubes off the wall, and we'd look at them around, kind of roll them around and do all this fun stuff with them. And then we would come up with the mix. And so you can see it's really evident in these size 6s here. We have an opaque bead, we have a semi-opaque or a silver lined, and then we have like a transparent, and this one has a color line to it. So we try and make everything a little bit different. Also, this is matte and not shiny. Here we've got a size 8 that's opaque and shiny. Here's a size 8 that's matte and semi-transparent. And then here's a transparent with a color line. So we try and vary the beads up a little bit. We try and make it so that the texture and the flavor of these mixes are kind of interesting to the eye. And Janice is also mentioning about our latest mix, Vintage Pearl, which I love, and I'm going to show that in a little bit. That's one where the example of it being not an equal mix, because again, sometimes if we use specialized beads, they're not as readily available, or not available in the big quantities, or if we've designed this a couple of months back and then we go to get our beads, some may be out, there's all kinds of different factors that come up with this. So sometimes they're not all equal. And also with the size, like these size 11s, the size 11s are so teeny that sometimes they can overrun a mix if there are too many in the mix, if you get my meaning. So, we want a nice kind of a maybe accent of 11s, but we don't want the whole mix to be those smaller beads. Now, sometimes we do that, like with Janice's here. Take a look at this one. This one is Living Coral, and Living Coral is a mix of mostly size 11s, a few 8s right here. That's a size 8. And we also used some delicas. And you can see some Tyla beads and some half Tylas. Now, usually we don't mix, a delica and a rocaille, but we did in this one. And this was a big fan favorite. Everyone loved Living Coral, right? It's such a great mix. And this Tyla bead is so beautiful with it. And you can see Janice's pieces that she did with this. It's called Sea Dive. It's the Sea Dive stacks. I think that's what it was called. Though Janice, I may be wrong. Sea Dive may have been something else. But Janice laddered with these with some turquoise leather, 1mm leather, and they really looked fantastic. So you can do a lot with these guys. Let's pull out a few more going further down the line. Let's take a look at, I want to look at that one. I want to look at this one. And I want to look at this one, actually, Cinnamon Spice. Cinnamon Spice was October 2017's mix. And this one here, this is a sample, an example of using kind of an expensive bead in the mix, so there are fewer of them in. This is one of my favorite beads. You guys know I love metal. So this is an antique copper 8/0 bead right here. So of course I had to use it in this mix. Since they're heavy and they are expensive, we used a little bit fewer than we would normally. But you can see this is kind of a really old school type bead, a 6/0. It kind of resembles some of those old beads from back in the day. And we do repeat beads in them. You can see this one was in our very first one, Strawberry Lemonade, and I used it again in October. And I used this bright yellow, or this bright red rather, to really pack a punch of color. And I want to show you that. Let me let me actually move this up a little bit. And Janice is saying that the bracelet name is called Coral Stacks, and the Coral Stacks, C Stacks, or C, I think might have been with a different mix, Janice. I don't know. They all kind of run together in my head sometimes. But I'm going to pull all of these red beads just out of this little section here. So when you're making a mix, and I've done this for you before on air, when you're creating a mix, you want to think about, I don't know, not only kind of what this piece could be made into, but also look at this, how this is kind of just a neutral background right here. Can you see that? Neutral-ish, right? There's some of that orange, but if I take some of that orange away even, I have kind of a fairly, it's not super monochromatic, but you know, it's kind of a soft kind of a mix to it. Okay. And I remember doing this. And so when you have kind of this kind of neutral palette, right, you can push this palette anywhere, right? So I have just a few sitting out here from last week of these blue, I don't even know what the color number is of these, but see how if I cover this up, see how I could have used blue instead, which is actually very beautiful, right? That's gorgeous with that. What else do I have here on the desk? Let me put that there. I have, I cleaned up. I should never, ever clean up, right? Let's see. Let me look at this one. This is from last week, that 8C2008, that patina iris. Look at something like that would go, right? Gita's saying purple. Purple would look amazing with this too, right? So once you've kind of established a neutral palette, you can kind of push it with different colors. And so I started to build the bridge. I knew I wanted to use some red. So I started to build the bridge to red by using that orange. Okay, so you can toss that orange in. And then we have this special little mixing bowl that we would kind of mix them in and see the equivalents. And then you can see when I introduce the red, and since this was also October, I wanted it to have kind of a crisp fall colors kind of theme. And so you can see it's kind of come together kind of like that. Okay, so finding, if you're making a mix and you're not quite sure how to start it, find yourself a color palette that's kind of neutral, right? And then add your color. This one's called Cinnamon Spice, and this was from October 2017, the first year that we started to do monthly mixes. So I want to pull together, I'm getting beads all over the place, so just bear with me here a second while I clear this up. I want to pull out Holiday Lights, because Holiday Lights was also one that was kind of a little more non-traditional, right? And so when we make these for months that have major holidays, we don't want to try and get too literal with these, okay? So this was Holiday Lights right here, December 2017, okay? And with Holiday Lights, when I put this together, I wanted it to have a Christmas feel, but I also wanted it to have like other December holidays feeling to it, like, you know, Hanukkah, or even, it's not the traditional color palette, but even like Kwanzaa, or even for people who don't, you know, who don't celebrate and just like kind of, you know, returning of the light, you know, when solstice happens. So I wanted it to be festive. I wanted it to be rich, have rich colors. So I kind of skewed it a little bit, and instead of making it a red and green palette, which are kind of traditional Christmas colors here for us in the US. I went with kind of this purple and teal color. And to me, what this really evoked, I don't know, as a little girl, I was a big fan of Architectural Digest magazine. I know that you had no idea what I was going to say, but my mom will know this story. We had a friend of ours, a family friend, who was kind of a fancy lady. Her husband flew for TWA, and he flew all over the world. And this was in the 70s when, flying those big 747s was very glamorous. And she had this house that was always so beautifully turned out and so non-traditional, right? And so thinking back to like what she would do for holidays when she would put things that were up that were kind of non-traditional, and she would always give me Architectural Digest magazine. So there I am, I'm 5, 6, 7 years old, sitting there while my gran and Mrs. Jonasson had tea. And, I also had tea and some sandwiches or whatever, thumbing through the pages of Architectural Digest. So this kind of reminded me of, I don't know, kind of when people would decorate with kind of non-traditional colors. So that's kind of my thinking behind that. Anyway, and so someone's asking about, I think it was Lynn asked, who thinks up the names. It's kind of like the chicken and the egg scenario. Sometimes the name hits us first, right? Like with Emily, with Pear Festival. And I'm going to pull Pear Festival out because that is a fan favorite. And I'm going to talk to you a little bit about Emily's thinking behind it. She knew she wanted to commemorate. This is when she was living in Lake County and, the place where she grew up. And every year in the fall, Lake County has a Pear Festival. Right, so she wanted to kind of create an homage to that. So the name came first. Okay, so let me put this away and let me pull out Pear Festival if I can find it in this sea of beads. I know it's here somewhere. Here it is. And so this is an example, right, of a mix that was hard to reproduce, and throw it to Emily, right, to go, I'm going to do my mix exactly how I want it, and I am not going to be constrained by anything you guys put on me. So we're all right, do what you got to do. So what Emily did was, instead of 6/0, she used Padres. See that there? Those are all Padre beads in here, which is a little more difficult when we have to measure for the amount of beads that we need. Okay, so there's the Padres. Then she used a generous helping of size 8s. This little chartreuse, which definitely looks like pear. And again, some of those Picasso beads, that Picasso chartreuse, this Picasso, I think it's tan. And then she used an 11/0. I think that was the persimmon 11/0 there. And it's such a beautiful mix, right? And so Emily really tapped into her memories of the Lake County Pear Festival, and did it this way. I think it's gorgeous. I love the Padres with this, how the Padres are just so, the shapes are all so interesting. Another resource that you can look for, Allie Morey, our Allie, does so many amazing wrap bracelets with the monthly mixes. If you're a member of our Bead Table Facebook group, she just posted what she did for this month for the Vintage Pearl, which was a really cool story. And so maybe I can bring it up at the end of the broadcast so you guys can see it. But if you go in our lookbooks section, I don't know if you guys have gone to our lookbooks lately or if you're new to watching us. Our lookbooks that we've done over the years are a wealth of information. Our design team created a few of those, and Allie made one. It was a year of wrap bracelets, and she came on. We did a broadcast together, and that broadcast was just ridiculously fantastic. She brought all 12 wrap bracelets that she did with the monthly mixes. So it's something that you will that you'll definitely want to check out. So inspirational. So each one of these can be can be made into a wrap. They'd be beautiful. One of Allie's secrets that she does when she's going to make a wrap bracelet series out of these is she consults the recipe and then actually orders the monthly mix, and then she orders the mix in the sum of its parts. So she'll order individual tubes as well, which is kind of an interesting way to go about it. So she's got plenty to work with. There was another one. I can't remember what I was going to show you next here. Let's fast forward. So this was one. This was an Allie. I think this was an Allie mix that she did. This one is called Kaleidoscope in April 2019. This one was done off of a picture, and I think it might have been a picture that Faye found, and then Allie made the mix. Though I could be wrong, but I'm remembering it that way. Also, I wanted to show you this one, Golden Gate. This was a Cara mix that Cara did. And Cara loves orange. She loves the San Francisco Giants, and she loves the Golden Gate Bridge. Also, three things that I love as well. And she created this mix. And Golden Gate Fog really is an homage to our beloved Golden Gate Bridge, right? That we love here in the San Francisco Bay Area. The paint on the Golden Gate Bridge is that international orange color, right? So that's this kind of color here, and she used these half tiles to kind of emulate the girders on the bridge, and then just a beautiful series tones of gray to mimic the fog. This is one of my favorite mixes here, right? Really, I just love this. Love it, love it, love it. This was from June 2019. I just love it. Did I tell you I loved it? I do. Well, if you love it, you can always consult the recipe and make it because it's a good one. This might be a fun fan favorite to bring back. And I think that Cara made a wrap bracelet with this. Also notice, see how I have these in my hand? She used this, that metallic red, that galvanized red, that really just pops. So it really pulls the colors in. It's kind of fun getting these beads. I should have a funnel. We have a funnel in the other room, but they'll just go in. I've got to corral them. I'm the boss here of these bad boys. So let me get this one in here. Another one that I'm going to pull out that I did a project with it with memory wire, and you guys may remember that that project. Let me see. That one was called, and I'm going to grab this. This one was called Family Reunion. I'm going to pull this out, and I'm going to dump it out here. And, you know, we have jokes here at the office when we do different mixes or we do different things. And when Janice came up with Family Reunion, right? And Drea and I were like, it's cubes and 6/0. And we're all, okay, JP, because, you know, that's the thing. When someone makes a mix, we all honor their vision. You know, we try and do all that. And so I was like, I don't know. I had doubts, I'll be honest. Then I made this project. Then we mixed it, and I made this project. And I was like, this is the best mix we've ever made, honestly. And here's the project. I walked down the hall to grab it. Some of you may remember I did this macrame with the 0.5 millimeter leather on memory wire, right? And I glued those ends on. And I made this and I thought, oh, man, that mix really is beautiful. You know, because when I make a mix or when I try and pull them together, like I said earlier, I try and vary the size and the shape, and I try and do, you know, transparent and you know, and opaque and matte and shiny, all of those things all together, right? To try and make it interesting. But when when Janice put this together, she used all opaques, right? And she used mostly 6/0 with a smattering of 8/0, and she added cubes. And I was like, this is just, it really, I think, has a very vintage feel to it, right? I don't know. I really, once it got into this project, it really, really sang for me. So for monthly mixes, another way to use them is to just simply string them on memory wire. And on the end of that memory wire, I just glued one of those beads here on the end. But it was fun, and it was really, really fun to work with. And it lets kind of the other components in this bracelet shine, the happy donuts, the coil spacers, the tribal hishi, all of that. So it was fun. So this one was one where, and again, when someone makes the mix and the rest, you know, and it rarely happens, right? When someone's like, oh, okay, I don't love that one. But then, you know, you got to see the process through. And this one, Family Reunion, this was the July one, was super popular with all of you. And I think it really is because it has kind of a very vintage bead feel to it, of course, and Janice's impeccable design vision. So that's this one here, Family Reunion, which I love. Another one that I think sometimes when we add these components, it's not as easy to use the beads. And I wanted to grab, here it is. This was one that we didn't actually use with this project, but I want to show it to you. This is Dria's for August of 2020. This one's called Summer Rush. And she based this off of a painting of an artist, and it says it has the information with the mix. But this one had 8/0, and then it had bugle beads, right? Bugle beads are sometimes kind of tough for people to use, but bugles, I love laddering with bugles. Can you see that here, how this ladder bracelet has bugle beads in it? So something like this with this monthly mix, I love this so much. I did this with also in 2020. This one was in January. This one was called Roaring 20s. And I did a wrap bracelet with this one, the Roaring 20s. I remember that one because that was like, it felt like that was the last good times we had in 2020. Brittany and I went to the gem show and did a mix for a live. I remember we did that, and then, you know, we did a few things in February, and then the pandemic hit. So I don't know. I feel like, you know, this was the Roaring 20s bracelet that kind of it might burn into my memories as like the last fun thing I did in 2020. That's not really true, but that's how I remember it anyway. Let me see if I have the wrap for that one so you guys can see it. I'm thinking about creating here it is, kind of a wrap bracelet archive of all of these. You know, I don't think this is it, but maybe it is. I can't remember. Yeah, it is. I just added some other beads. Doing kind of a wrap bracelet archive is kind of fun. Kind of a fun way to commemorate these. So this one, you can see here's the Roaring 20s here. And then you can see I used the bugles. Can you see how I used them between the Checkmates tiles? The Checkmates tiles, it was an extra add-on. Some of these beads were extra add-ons, but these are all in the mix right here. And then I added the tiles. You can see I did the flat macrame stitch with these guys here, like this. And I did some more laddering, kind of a checkerboard kind of pattern with this. And then, of course, I threw in some wheat chain here. So laddering is a great way to use these monthly mixes. Let me show you a few other of our designs. And if you're new to Beadshop, I see a couple of people saying, oh, I'm so glad that you're sharing some of these designs because I'm new. If you go to beadshop.com and you look under our projects, you're going to start to drill down into the projects and just kind of click away and see what kind of floats your boat. You can take some screenshots. You can start to kind of prep, some different carts. You can put different things on wish lists, right? So you can find them again. But I grabbed some pieces here. This isn't necessarily made with a monthly mix, but these are pieces that Emily made. And I think that this design, let me move some of this over. There we go. This design, there we are. There we go. Is kind of a fun one, okay? And it would work really well with a mix. You can see that this is that silk with needle cord, and I think this is a size 6 that we've got here. And essentially, the way this is done is you get 2 pieces of that cord. I silk wrapped it around, so I had just 2 strands, and I strung some beads on, and then I tied a knot, strung some more beads on, tied a knot, and kept going, okay? Emily also did this one, and this is kind of a signature Emily technique. Can you see how that's a size 11 on there, right? So it makes a really nice, slim, almost chain-like look to that. This would also be great with the monthly mixes. Then you could also take that same kind of idea. This is one that I did with Karen's sweet pea mix. It's a little, it's a little tangled. There we go. And instead of silk, I used soft flex. And I just used, I think it was 3 strands. There we go. I don't know, I had to count. 3 strands of soft flex, and then brought them together under a crimp tube and then covered those crimps with a crimp cover. But you can see just letting the beads float on there looks really nice as well. So you can kind of do these same kind of techniques, only using different medium for that. Someone also commented that this almost looks like bead crochet. It does, and this is a great way to kind of get the effect with bead crochet without actually crocheting, right? Though I did bring one of Emily's bead crochet pieces here when she taught us bead crochet. Bead crochet is also terrific for monthly mixes. And you can see Emily just did a whole line of different colored beads here and did the crochet. You can bead crochet with a lot of different sizes of thread. I think Emily used Ceylon here in fine. You could pop it up to Ceylon in regular, and then you would just change your needle depending on your thread size. But these are a lot of fun, and you can go back and rewatch that episode with Emily doing the bead crochet, which was great. So this is a fun one as well. She also did, I have a lot of Emily samples out here. I think it's because I miss seeing her. I'm going to see her soon. Couple of weeks we're planning on meeting up, which is going to be great because I haven't seen her in over a year. Emily. This is one, she did this as I think I was away at a bead and button or a bead show teaching when Emily did this one. And I'll be honest, I have no idea what it's called, but it's in the archives, in the Beadshop projects under necklaces, you'll find it. And so you can see here's the ultra suede, the compassion suede lace that's back here. And what she did, she used these padres and she ombre'd these kind of in a color story. So they went from that mustard to that light green to that darker green. See that there? And just look at that. It's just gorgeous. And then this, she used the Pony Express beads on the back, put all of these through. So these act as slides to hold the necklace in place. But you can just slip this over your head and just have the beads kind of there holding everything together. So this would be a fun one for the mix, especially this takes a lot of beads, right? But this is called the Cascade necklace. That's what it is. Good job, Gita and Janice. Nicely done. And it is, as they're both, as Janice is saying, it's so easy to make. This is strung on wax and linen. And we're big fans of stringing on wax linen here. And this has a very, you know, pardon my name drop, but it has a very kind of Sundance catalog kind of feel to it. And especially ombre, with this color ombre that goes, you know, kind of in this tonal variation here, is very of the moment. I think it's always something that is very eye-catching and fun to create with. So this is a great monthly mix story as well. Again, with monthly mixes, like even with this one's called Sea Treasures, and it was June 2018. I think I did this one. Something like this, you could certainly string up something like this here, right? And you could look at the recipe and get full tubes of what the mix is in here, and then, you know, you could string them that way onto strands, right, if you wanted a whole bunch. And I see that oh, and here I just wanted to put up this. Ronnie is loving the historical monthly mixes, but she loves the birthstone colors. So I'm going to actually show you these birthstone colors here. And then Michelle asked what we mix our mixes in. So actually one of these plastic shoe boxes, Michelle, is actually what we use. And so when we get the beads, they come in 250 gram bags. And so I do one set of 250 gram bags per time that I mix. So if we're making like 2 batches, I'll do like 1 batch of the 250 gram bags, mix that, right, tube it, and then I'll do the other half of the amount that we have. That way, I feel that if I mix them in smaller batches, everything evens out nicely. Like you don't have too many beads in one and too few beads in the other, if that makes sense. You know, color wise. So let's pull out the what we had for this year. So we started in January with Indian Garnet. I'll get a little bit closer here. Indian Garnet. Then we went to Amethyst and Violets. That was a little homage to my gran, since that was her birthstone color. Aquamarine Dreams. That was March. Then here is Emerald for, whoops, I'm missing April. What was April? April, here's Vintage Pearl. What was April? Tell me what it is, JP. Am I missing it? I thought I grabbed it here. It must be sitting here. Oh, Vintage Diamond. That's what April was. And I've got one right here somewhere. I just was looking at it going, isn't that pretty? Here it is. Okay. There it is. Okay. So that's where we are so far. Let me get a little further down so you guys can see these. I love them. So this, for July, what we've got is we're coming up with ruby slipper is the one that Janice has created for July. And so when, like, for instance, I want to talk about this Indian garnet. And so the way that Janice and I have been doing these lately is Janice finds, usually she goes to like the GIA or somewhere that has a lot of gemstone pictures. And she pulls some gemstone photos, actually. And so for the garnet, we played around with, because there's so many colors of garnet, especially garnet that comes from India, like the paparasha and just all of the really beautiful colors. So that's why we called it Indian garnet, because I don't know if you have, have seen like those beautiful strands of all the different colors of garnet, and then strung it up. It's just really gorgeous. So that's how we have kind of played around. So we're not doing a completely literal interpretation of the stone, but we want to give it our own little twist. So Indian garnet it was. I also want to show you kind of up close what we did with the vintage diamonds. The vintage diamonds I think we're out of. We still have some of the Emerald City left. We liked it so much we actually made a little bit extra. So there's still some of that hanging around here. But let me put the garnet back. The vintage diamonds, when we started playing around with vintage diamonds, we didn't want to just make a whole bunch of clear, right? Throw a whole bunch of clear beads together, right? So we were talking about, diamonds and, we like maybe rose cut diamonds or mine cut diamonds, things that look kind of vintage. And so we came up with putting everything with kind of this pewter or platinum color to kind of make it have kind of a vintage flair to it. And if you'll notice, there is no clear crystal in this. Right? The clear that's in here is a crystal AB. So it gave it a little bit of a punch. So again, we're doing not a literal interpretation, but but kind of our bent on how we want to do these. So Janice is asking if I have the July mix to show you. I do, if you guys want a sneak peek. So JP, it's only the 2nd of June, but I don't know. Why not? Do you guys want a sneak peek of what July is going to be? It's already done and photographed, so it's ready to go. This is our vintage pearls that we have now. Let me dump this out so you guys can look at it while I grab the ruby slippers one. The vintage pearls I love. We use those Miyuki Baroque pearls in it, which is kind of a pricey little bead, but we went for it anyway. And again, this is another kind of homage, right, to like freshwater pearls. If you look at freshwater pearls and if you look at kind of like vintage pearl necklaces, you can kind of see that pearls come in a variety of different colors and stuff. So again, this was kind of an homage to that vintage kind of feel. Janice did this one. She pulled a photo from I think again from the GIA, and we laid it out, and then we just started pulling color, and we do this back and forth on a Google Doc, while we're on the phone together, and it's kind of fun to play around with it. So that's the one that we came up with there. But this ruby slipper, Janice did all on her own. We've been a little pressed for time here at the office, so Janice is like, I did July, and it's done. So we were like, perfect, it's great. So here's the July, and I'll show you. Let me take the vintage pearl and put it back in. This one's, I would love to do something with this one. I think that, and I pulled up a project for it. This is our horizontal peyote, and this is one that Ali Mori did in her lookbook. That's this one here. This is actually Karen's sample that Karen, she made with Karen's mix for Karen. So, but Karen, I'm like, Karen, you can't have that quite yet. So, but it's this horizontal peyote with the 2 different sizes and the baroque pearls and stuff would be a great, I think, piece to do with this vintage pearl. It would be fun. There we go. The trick is getting all of these beads back into these tubes, right? So let's take a look at July. Okay. I'm only gonna, we never do this. We never show it before. So here is Ruby Slipper, and it's very pretty, and you can see how it differs. It's right, because ruby and garnet are similar, but this garnet is very different, right, than this ruby. And I'm going to get this a little lower down. We've got some fresh beads, some new beads that are coming with this, and even though this is a monochromatic palette, there's a lot of color going on here. We've got a 6/0, we've got some 8/0s. We've got a cut bead here, the size 8/0 cuts. So it's a really kind of glimmery, kind of beautiful, beautiful mix. So I think you guys are really going to love working with it. We have that kind of that AB matte coating in there. So it's really fun. So this, I'm going to pull this up. And that's it. You won't see this again until July 1st. But it was really fun. So you can see all of the mixes. I didn't show you all of the archive here because it's just ridiculous. We've got so much, so many tubes here. But you can go to the website and you can click on the monthly mix page, and you can take a look at all of the recipes for all of the mixes that we've made throughout the years. And I'll talk to Drea. We'll talk about it in our marketing meeting next week, possibly for the summer. Maybe it'll be fun at the end of summer to bring back some fan favorites again, because we've done that before and it was really super popular. And you guys will get to vote which ones are your favorites. So I guess that's it. I don't know. This one was a fun one. Fall Gourds. That was October 2019. So we've got so many here. So many interesting ones. Summer Sunset. This was a nice one from August 2018. That was a fun one. A fun one here. The last thing, are there any other samples that I've got here? I did want to show again with the bugles and with the tilas and the cubes and stuff. This is the strand that I strung from Emily's piece when she did those lanterns. So this necklace actually got completed and finished and strung up. I know, shocker, that I actually finished it, but it's also a great way to pull in kind of all those different types of beads. So again, go to the website, take a gander at all of the projects, and then kind of picture how those monthly mixes will work with those. What Janice is saying, and it's really good advice, she says, when you order our monthly mixes, think about ordering several tubes, because when they're gone, it really means you can only recreate the collection by ordering the individual tubes. So it really does save you money when you buy it by the tube. And everyone's loving Family Reunion, Janice. We're going to have to bring it back. And maybe we should it might be kind of fun to do a Family Reunion 2 mix. Maybe the cousins come over. I don't know, something like that. But anyway, so we'll have to think about bringing this one back, because the project for it, if I do say so myself, is kind of a fun one with this memory wire and doing the flat macrame and leather over memory wire. So there's that. All right, everybody. Well, I think that's good. Here, I'm going to pull this back so you guys can see the super big mess that's on my desk. Whoops, sorry, I put that comment up there, but look at look at how I've got all the mixes here. Got my coffee over there, all the mixes and stuff there. So it's a big hullabaloo over here on the Facebook Live desk. So, alrighty. So let me get me up here. Here I am. Well, thanks for coming down this walk down memory lane with the monthly mixes. We did do another broadcast on monthly mixes as well, so I wanted to put that up. I did it a while back. Gita found it. She said the broadcast from 2019 where I talk about making a mix, it's over on YouTube. It's a great way to watch it as well. And I think I actually do some mixing, some palette mixing on that. And I show the little bowl and stuff that we mix in. So it's fun. So I really urge you guys to, if you have, like someone said back in the chat, and I can't remember who it was, I'm sorry, but if you do have like little bits of mixes left over, you can sort them out, right? And find kind of a neutral color palette and then start to add some color into that. I think that's a great way to use up some of those, or a good way to start creating your own mix as well. Okay, so yes, there's a lot of votes, JP, for family reunion, so we're going to have to talk about it, I think. So next week, you guys, we're having a special guest, and I know you love to see her when she's here. We have some pieces, and I'm going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek, and I know some of you have already seen a sneak peek of these. But Brittany will be back with me, and she'll be creating some West County cuffs, pardon me, which are one of her signature pieces, and she's got 3 here. We're doing them in some really beautiful color palettes, and they feature the new Tierra Cast Monstera button. That's right here, and we've got it in a green tone, a blue tone, and a yellow tone. And she has a new handout addendum to kind of share with you how she's done a few improvements on her old design, because new, there's been some new threads, some new things that have come along since she did her last big series. So they'll be really, really fun. So I'm looking forward to welcoming Brittany on with me next week. I know you guys love to see her and love her design. So all of that will be coming, and she will be here for 2 broadcasts. This is going to be a 2-parter. So we're going to start this West County, and we're going to get through part of it, and then she's going to talk about the button closure and stuff in the second broadcast. So it'll be a 2-parter. Okay, and so I think you guys are going to really love kind of drilling down into this, and the new handout addendum will be posted on the project page as well. So I know we're all really looking forward to seeing Brittany next week. So that's my story. I'm sticking to it. Thanks, you guys, for joining me in this walk down memory lane. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Sometimes it's fun to pull out the old monthly mixes and take a look at what we've got going on. So I'd love to see what you're doing on our monthly mix. And I didn't put the photo up, but we'd love to have you join us over on our Facebook group called the Bead Table. Go over there and join, answer just a couple of questions, and we'll be glad to have you join us there. That way you can see some of the really beautiful and wonderful things that people have been creating, including that fantastic piece that Allie made using the monthly mix. It was an homage to her when she went to the Beatles concert at the Cow Palace in South San Francisco. Those of you who are in the Bay Area have a lot of, I think, fond memories of seeing music at the Cow Palace. And so Allie's was an homage to that. So, of course, you can go to beadshop.com for information on the project and products from this broadcast, make sure that you sign up for our newsletter for the latest discounts, giveaways, and new products. And as always, thank you for watching. Without your support of our small business, we would not be here. And it means means so much now, more than ever, to for your support to keep our small business running. We really, really appreciate it. And of course, you can find us on our different social media platforms at beadshop.com on Instagram. Drea does all kinds of fun things over there on Insta. Join us on Facebook at the Bead Table. And if you're watching on YouTube, hit that like and subscribe button so you never miss a broadcast or a video that we post up there. And of course, you can always shop 24 hours a day on beadshop.com. All right. Thanks so much, everybody. I will see you on Friday for Free Tip Friday with Janice. We have the Bead Doctor is in, so Janice and I will be here on Friday. And then next week, for 2 weeks running, Brittany and I will deconstruct and reconstruct the West County cuff. So thanks all y'all, and I'll see you on Friday, everybody. Thanks so much.